stuff out that I read in your bio.
Right,
that's
fine.
interesting. You were a hobo.
Yeah, I was. I went to, you know, I started off in college to be a petroleum engineer. I always wanted to go look for oil. Yeah. Which is actually the #1 career anybody could have these days. And I found it was too complicated, and I dropped out of college with my roommate. And the train was going through Columbia, South Carolina. I went to the University of South Carolina. And we thought, well, what the heck, let's just jump on it. And we jumped on it, and we rode it all the way to Los Angeles, California. And I started kicking around L.A. for a while. And I used to, even when I was in radio in California, I would hop trains on the weekends sometimes. And one time, Charles Kuralt, who does On the Road for CBS, I had never done a train story before. So I wrote him a letter, and I said, you know, you ought to go out and hop a train, because this is a great American pastime. Ernest Hemingway rode the rails. Thomas Wolfe rode the rails and wrote about it a lot. And Charles Kuralt wrote back, and he says, this is the most fantastic idea I've ever heard of. He says, don't lose contact with me. He says, I'm in Vandalia, Illinois, but I'm going to work my way out to California, and we're going to hop a train from Bakersfield to L.A. So I kept in contact with him. It took him 2 years before he got out to California. And his secretary called one night, and she says, Charles Kuralt's going to be in L.A. next week. He wants to hop the freight train. He's so excited about this. This is fantastic. And I said, fine, I'll be here. So then I thought, well, I ought to go up and practice once. So I went up to Bakersfield on a bus, and I took a cab to the train yard. And what I hadn't known is that they were having a lot of vandalism on the railroad at that time. And I got into the railroad car, and it was late at night, and I was going to just ride it down to L.A., and I heard a click. And I looked around, and a flashlight came on, and the flashlight was pointed on a gun that was cocked and pointed right at me. And the guy says, you're under arrest for trespassing. So they took me into the Bakersfield jail and frisked me, and they thought I had been a saboteur, was, you know, putting a bomb in the car or something like that.
Looked a little too good to be just hopping a ride.
So I was bailed out the next day, and I called Charles Kuralt in New York, and I said, don't come out and do this because you're going to get locked up. And I interviewed him a few years later, and he said of all the stories he's missed, that's the one he wished he could have done.
Yeah. Is there anything you wish you could have done in your career? I mean, it seems like you're doing something that anybody would be thrilled to do. You got a chance to talk to all the famous people. You got a chance.
This is a dream come true.
Yeah.
And Phoenix is a dream come true. And the people that live here, you know, I really have found a home. I was raised back in New Jersey and drifted around a lot and worked outside of Los Angeles in radio for a while. But when I came here, I just felt like I was home. Yeah. I like the people. I like their outlook, their pioneering spirit. Well, and I don't think I'd ever want to leave.
Yeah. People invite you into their homes and their cars every day, and KTAR does so well with the talk shows. I mean, it's just hands down #1, no question about it. Why does that work so well on radio?
It works well on radio because of the mobility of radio, and we can pick up a phone and go anywhere in the country and talk to an expert. Whereas you know the limitations of television. Sometimes you have to have so many people to make you look good or bad sometimes, and they've all got to be there, and you have the time limitations. But I think that people today feel that they need some help in coping with life and the problems of life. And they need a lawyer they can get free advice from, and a medical doctor, and a financial advisor, and how do I invest money and make money. Sex, health, and wealth sometimes makes the world go round, and also talk shows.
As you sit and talk with your producer, Joyce Dean, and you're talking about who you want to get on the show, who do you have her working on that you haven't had a chance to get yet that you'd like to get on the show?
Peter Grace of the Grace Commission, we almost got when he was here in town, and we weren't able to get him because he had to get an early plane out. A number of celebrities, but as you know, when you get celebrities, that's 5 times harder than getting, you know, a doctor or a lawyer, because celebrities do so many interviews, and it's so hard to catch them, and a lot of them don't need the promotion, really. Yeah. And any one of a variety of celebrities that come through, we try and get, but we're not able to because they don't want to come and take telephone calls. And I think sometimes, Pat, really, to get an expert there like a lawyer or a doctor or someone that people would have to pay, you know, to talk with, I think they would rather listen to that than a celebrity sometimes, you know, plug a movie or things like that.
Yeah, you're really working with what people need to know in their daily lives, and you're giving them a chance to find out about it. You've been doing it now for 6 years.
6 years. I used to be a disc jockey, and I got tired of playing those records, you know.
Yeah. Well, we're just about out of time on this interview. I know you get hours for the radio interview, but do you want to keep doing it? 6 years from now, will we be interviewing Preston?
I'll still be right here at KTAR, yeah. I love it.
Well, we love listening to you, and thank you very much. Preston Westmoreland on Finn and Friends. Thank you very much. We should mention 1 to 4. Everybody knows you're on 1 to 4, but just in case they don't, we'll mention that right now. Thank you for being with us here. And stay with us. We'll be right back.
If you want to meet the stars and more, call KPNX to be in the audience with Finn and Friends. We tape each night at 7 p.m., so you can be home to watch yourself on